Welcome to Inside the Summit League. Coming up on the show this week, the story on a former North Dakota high school football star who is tearing it up now in his sophomore season with the North Dakota State basketball team. And we sit down with Kyler Erickson at Omaha. Hear his story of how a school shooting changed his life and how he is now helping others to deal with trauma and mental illness. Now, though, to the week in basketball. Starting with the men, North Dakota State is holding steady at the top right now. IUPUI is opening up some eyes, and South Dakota State is coming on strong. Well, the Jackrabbits at home on Wednesday against Western Illinois. First game at home for SDSU's George Marshall. The transfer from the University of Wisconsin became eligible at semester. He had played his first 7 games with the Jacks away from home, but Marshall goes for 17 in his Frost Arena debut. Add 14 for Cody Larson, 14 for DeAndre Parks, and the Jackrabbits lead by as many as 33 in this one. Garrett Covington leads the Leathernecks with 11, but South Dakota State rolls at home 75-44. IUPUI at Oral Roberts on Wednesday. The Jaguars almost get their second straight league win. Kufu Naji leads IUPUI with 11. The Jags lead the game by 5 with 33 seconds to play. But Bobby Word makes his only shot of the game. It's a 3 at the buzzer to tie it at 56. Oral Roberts goes on to win in overtime. Corey Bilberry with 23 for the Golden Eagles, who pull out the win at home. Well, Fort Wayne had lost its first 2 league games. The Dons get it going, though, against Denver on Thursday. Denver leads the league in 3-pointers made right now. They make 12 more in this game, 4 of them by Jalen Love, 3 more by Marcus Bird. But Fort Wayne shoots 55% for the ball game. They get 16 points from Mo Evans, 12 points and 6 rebounds from Joe Reed, and Fort Wayne powers past Denver 69-53. North Dakota State, meanwhile, remains the only unbeaten in the league so far. The Bison win another close game at Omaha on Thursday. A.J. Jacobson gets him off to a hot start with 11 of his 17 in the first half. The Bison keep taking the lead. The Mavericks keep coming back. Mike Rostenpour with 18 points and 6 rebounds. Trayshawn Thurman with 18 points and 8 boards as he ties the game at 54 with about 6 minutes to play. But Lawrence Alexander leads another late run for North Dakota State. 18 points for L.A., who continues to lead the league in scoring. And North Dakota State wins by 3 to get to 3-0 in league play. And then a few more mild surprises on Saturday. South Dakota goes to Fort Wayne and knocks off the Dons. Fort Wayne shoots at 51%, and Steve Forbes goes for a season-high 24 points. The game is tied 8 times in the second half alone. Tyler Larson stays hot for the Coyotes with 14 points, and USD makes enough free throws down the stretch. The Yotes score 1 more point in each half, and they beat the Dons by 2, 64-62. Another close one in Indianapolis with IUPUI and Denver. Denver scores 13 points in the first 20 minutes of the game. IUPUI kind of takes advantage, and the Jags lead 20-13 at halftime. IUPUI plays 11 guys in this game. 10 of them score, led by Marcellus Barksdale with 10 points. The Jags get late buckets from Davron Williams and from DJ McCall, and IUPUI beats Denver 52-49. IUPUI is off to a 2-1 start in Summit League play. And back in Omaha, the Mavs and the Jackrabbits. South Dakota State stays hot. Freshman Reed Tellinghusen with 3 early threes. He goes for a season-high 19 points. George Marshall pumps in a season-high 25. And despite 11 points and 13 rebounds from Mike Rostenpour, the Mavs go down at home. SDSU rolls 87-68. Well, the week in women's basketball coming up next. Denver is hot right now, and IUPUI continues its uncanny win streak over South Dakota State.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort and Dakota Land Honda. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Health, your Heartland Chevy team dealers, and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Well, now to women's basketball. IUPUI beats South Dakota State for the 3rd year in a row. Denver has won 3 games in a row, and North Dakota State continues its best ever start in Summit League play. The Bison women keep it rolling on Thursday, and the Bison Big Three get it done again. 17 points and 9 assists for Brooke Lamar, who continues to lead the league in scoring and assists. Holly Johnson with 16 points, 6 rebounds for North Dakota State. Morena Whittle adds 14 points and 6 steals as North Dakota State beats IUPUI 68-63. The Jags make just one three-pointer, but they almost double up on NDSU in points in the paint. They get 17 from Nevin Markovic and 12 from Shakira Scott, but the Bison win by 5 to get to 3-0 in the league. In Denver, the Pioneers start a 2-win weekend with a victory over Omaha on Thursday. Brianna Bogard with 4 threes and 19 points. Taja Kelly with a season-high 15 rebounds to lead the Mavericks, but Denver gets 19 points, 7 rebounds from Paige Bradley, and 14 points off the bench from Jacqueline Poss, and Denver downs Omaha 60-53. Well, South Dakota was the up-and-down team of the weekend. They were down in this one on Thursday at Oral Roberts. Margaret McLeod with 11 points for the Coyotes, but USD shoots at just 32% for the game. Oral Roberts, meanwhile, with 4 players in double digits and 2 with double-doubles. 18 points, 10 rebounds for Faith Iam, and 19 points, 14 rebounds for Vicky McIntyre. And the Golden Eagles get their first league win, 81-65 over USD. Well, South Dakota State had some travel issues over the weekend. The Jacks were supposed to play in Fort Wayne on Friday. Winter weather in Brookings, though, delays the game until Saturday afternoon. Muir Hagerman with a season-high 16 points for Fort Wayne, but Mariah Claren counters with 16 points and 8 rebounds for South Dakota State. Fort Wayne forces a tie with a minute to play on a layup by Rachel Reinhardt, but Macy Miller makes one free throw with 1 second left, and the Jackrabbits just get past the Dons 65-64. Well, the other game on Saturday is the bounce-back game for South Dakota. The Coyotes set a school record for points in one game against a Division I opponent. The opponent is Western Illinois, and they get 34 points and 15 rebounds from Ashley Luke. But South Dakota comes out blazing, 65% shooting from the field in the first half. They make 7 of 11 threes in the first half and make 10 threes in the game. Rachel Contreras with 24 points to lead the Coyotes. Nicole Seekamp with 16 points and 10 rebounds. And the Coyotes hit 100+1 to beat Western Illinois. And then on Sunday, 3 games and 3 wins for the home teams. IUPUI knocks off South Dakota State behind 21 points and 6 rebounds from Nevin Markovic. Shakira Scott adds 16, and Michael Rogers 13 points and 6 rebounds as the Jaguars build a lead and hang on to win it. China Stevens makes a 3 for SDSU to give the Jacks a lead with 25 seconds to play, but Markovic makes a jumper with 8 seconds left to win it for IUPUI 68-67. Well, not too far away in Fort Wayne, the Dons at home against Oral Roberts, and another big game for ORU's Vicky McIntyre, 15 points and 13 rebounds, and Oral Roberts leads by 9 at the half. Fort Wayne grabs the lead early in the second half. Kiana Gary with 17 points and 6 rebounds, Haley Seibert with 21 for Fort Wayne, and Rachel Reinhardt with 12 points and 7 assists, and Fort Wayne comes back to get its first league win, 73-63 over Oral Roberts. And in Denver on Sunday, great game between the league leaders right now. North Dakota State gets a big game from Holly Johnson, 22 points and 10 rebounds, and the Bison run out to a 13-point lead. Denver gets its guards going, though, in the second half. Jordan Johnston with a season-high 22. Paige Bradley adds 20 points and 5 assists. Denver takes the lead with 49 seconds left on a 3 by Johnston, and the Pioneers hang on and beat North Dakota State 75-73. Both teams are now 3-1 in league play. Well, despite that loss, things are different in a good way this season for the NDSU women. Under first-year head coach Maren Walseth, we'll talk to her about what it's like being in charge of the herd coming up next.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort and Dakota Land Honda. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Health, your Heartland Chevy team dealers, and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back. These are your Summit League basketball players of the week. For the men, George of the Jackrabbits, George Marshall, earns his first honor after leading South Dakota State to 2 victories. He had 17 points against Western Illinois and a season-high 25 at Omaha. He made 9 of 15 threes in those 2 games. And for the women, Vicky McIntyre at Oral Roberts for the 2nd time already this season. She had 19 points, 14 rebounds in a win over South Dakota, and then 15 and 13 in a loss to Fort Wayne. She also blocked 10 shots in the 2 games and went 14 of 14 at the free throw line. Well, McIntyre is averaging just under 15 rebounds a game right now. That leads the Summit League. She had 14 against North Dakota State this year, but the Bison won that game. Matter of fact, the Bison are winning a lot of games this season under Maren Walseth. Brad Newitt sat down with Walseth last week in Fargo to chat about the challenges for a rookie head coach.
Talk a little bit about just the process of you applying for the job here at North Dakota State and what got you interested in being the head coach here.
Certainly, I'm from Minneapolis and obviously have a healthy respect for coach and release teams and whatnot. I actually saw the opening, said something to my sister, got on a flight, never thought about it again. I was going on a recruiting trip. And then Lynn Doran reached out to our administration at Penn State and to our head coach there, Coach Washington, and it just kind of took off from there. She was very respectful of my desire to finish our NCAA tournament run at Penn State, close up that season before really coming out here on an interview and stuff like that. So it all happened very fast. You know, people say, did you give your 2 weeks? It's like, nope, you give them about 2 hours notice and the ball keeps moving. But I'm very thankful for this opportunity.
So there's about 350 Division I head coaches in the country, and I know pretty much every college coach, that's kind of their dream to be a head coach. What did it feel like when you really realized that you were going to be a Division I head coach?
It was exciting. It was exciting. Certainly you're in this profession I'm in this profession to be the very best that I can be at the job that I had. So I knew eventually I'd be a head coach. I didn't know, where or what that was going to look like. But when it came to fruition and in a place like this, I felt very comfortable. Certainly you get asked a million questions all before 9 a.m. and they all want answers, and you're responsible for a whole program. But here at NDSU, there's a lot of people that want to support you, that want to lend their experiences and want to help you through the growing pains, so to speak. So it's been very easy.
We'll talk a little bit more about that. What's it been like? They say moving over one seat on the bench is a big change. Has it been a big change for you?
It has been a big change, and I think Dave and I would both say there's a newness to being a new head coach, but also with our facilities changing and whatnot, that adds a whole nother dimension. So I'm not really sure what is new to being a head coach and what is new because of our new facility being built and whatnot. But at the end of the day, like I said, they ask you, people want answers and ask questions. They all need an answer before 9 a.m. and you're like, shoot, my to-do list, I haven't even started. But it's been exciting. It really has been exciting.
Up next, we stay in Fargo for the story on a kid who is coming into his own this year, how Dexter Werner is making good playing for his home state team.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort and Dakota Land Honda. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Health, your Heartland Chevy team dealers, and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Well, he goes by Dex Breezy on Twitter, and he floats around the floor with a grace you might not expect from a kid who still looks a little bit like an offensive lineman that he once was. But don't be fooled by the appearance. Dexter Werner can play. He is a home state hero who is coming into his own this season at North Dakota State. Dexter Werner is a North Dakota kid, born in Fargo, moved to Bismarck in grade school, starred in basketball and football at Bismarck High School, and now is more than proud to wear the yellow and green at North Dakota State.
I think it's definitely a big deal for me. It's just one of those states where you don't really see a lot of D1 talent come out of the state. There's just not as many schools here. It's a smaller population. So, to have me and AJ here, I think that's a really big deal for the both of us. There's just not a lot of D1 kids out there for basketball, especially. There's only been a few in the last few years, and so I just think it's just really special just being here in our home state and playing at the highest level of basketball.
He redshirted as a freshman and played just 43 minutes total last year as a first-year player on a team loaded with senior talent.
You got to stay positive. There's some nights where it's frustrating, when you just wish you could be out there playing when you're sitting on the bench for game time, but, you got to wait it out, and you just got to pay your dues, and then it pays off in the end for me,
So he put his head down and got to work, lost some weight, and gained some quickness. He was an all-state football player in high school, an offensive lineman as a matter of fact, and he has used the last 2 years to build himself into more of a basketball body.
I had a knee injury and a concussion to finish off my senior year of football, so I kind of got a little out of shape coming into my senior season. So, it's nice to be back to where I was before and, a little improved from there. So I'm feeling good about where I'm at and just having fun playing. I love to compete. A lot of people, I was coming out of high school, a lot of people thought I should play football, but, I started playing basketball about 5 years earlier than football. So, it's always been my first favorite sport, and I love basketball, so it's always fun out there competing every night.
And he has blown up so far his sophomore season. He leads the league in block shots, he leads the Bison in rebounds, and is third on the team in scoring. And if he can develop a reliable jump shot, he is really going to be hard to stop.
I think I'm really doing well, just getting to the rim and finishing. So, like Dave said, I think I'm going to see a lot of teams try not to guard me as much on the wing. I think I just got to be confident and knock down some open shots, and that's going to open everything else up for me.
Well, another story of another great kid playing ball in the Summit League this year. Kyler Erickson lived through a school shooting but had a terrible time living with the horrible memories. He is better now, though, and putting his story out there to help others deal with post-traumatic stress. That story's next.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort and Dakota Land Honda. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Health, your Heartland Chevy team dealers, and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Well, we go to Omaha this week for the campus spotlight. We sit down with UNO basketball player Kyler Erickson. He witnessed a school shooting and has had to deal with the demons ever since. But he got help, and he is now doing what he can to make sure that others get help and know that they are not alone. Will you just kind of start from, I guess, the moment that started you on this path to where you are now, where you want to reach out and help other people? And we'll get to that point in the story, but just go back, I think it was January 2011. It's been almost 4 years now, right? But
Yep.
Where were you? You were in school? What happened?
Yeah, so I was a senior in high school at Millard South, and I was sitting in Spanish class, and we had a game the night before, and so I hurt my ankle pretty bad in that game, and so I was sitting in class, and I asked for a pass to go to the nurse's office just to ice my ankle a little bit. And when I was there, we had a student who got suspended that morning, and he was pretty angry. He had a lot of issues, of course, before that, but so he got suspended that morning and then came back, and he had his father's gun, so he came back to school and shot our assistant principal and killed her, and then shot our principal, and he ended up living. So at the time of the shootings, I was in the nurse's office, which was one wall separated us from the assistant principal's office and the principal's office, and so I heard, everything there was to hear, and I saw, just a lot of blood and a lot of things that caused me to have PTSD, which stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. And so at the time I was 18, I kind of didn't know what it was or how even any of that happens, and so I went through my freshman year of college and really struggling. And so I would wake up a lot of nights and see these ghosts and see these figures, and I didn't want to tell a lot of people because I kind of thought of it just as something you want to push aside, and I was a college athlete. I didn't want that to affect me or affect my scholarship, and so I kind of just held it in and kept having these nightmares, these hallucinations, and then there was a night where I just woke up and I was seeing all these things, and I knew that I had to get some help, and so I just called my mom and I was like, this is what's going on, this is what I'm seeing, this is what's happening. And so that next summer I came back to Omaha and went through 3 or 4 months of pretty intense therapy.
Has basketball helped you in any way to get through all this?
Definitely, yeah. And I had a family of probably 9 or 10 close in my family, and then I joined basketball, and I have 20, 25 more people who would do anything for me, and I consider them my brothers. And so it's really just given me another support system, another group of people that I can trust, I can go to. And I'm having a bad day, you want to go get something to eat or hang out, they're always there. especially the faculty and everybody in the UNO athletic department has been so good to me and so kind. And so it really is just more people to have your back and you can go to if you need anything. So,
and you've probably had an impact on them being able to open up a little bit, don't you think?
I hope so, yeah. That's kind of the goal of all this, is just let people know that they're important and they're loved, and they for sure have a purpose for being here, and we need them on earth. So
where do you want to take it once you're so busy with basketball right now, but once you get done with basketball this year and then graduate the following year, what would you like to do in the future with what you're doing?
Yeah, so if I could, I'd like to turn it into a full-time thing, just traveling around the U.S. or even the world if I could, telling my story and kind of letting people know. So what's so cool about, I guess one of the cool things about this story is that I was an athlete before, a college athlete before. I got the help, and now I'm a Division I college athlete, because the misconception, I guess, is if you get help or if you go through this therapy, seek a counselor, whatever it may be, your life is kind of on hold and people think of you less, and you kind of become less of a person in some way. That's what a lot of people think. And so for people to see kind of my story and how life got better and really opened up after therapy and after seeing a counselor, it's it can change the way they think about it and the way that they view mental illness.
Big thanks to Kyler Erickson. Thanks to all of our member schools. We'll see you next week on Inside the Summit League.